Good afternoon. I see we have a number of people joining us for our webinar today. So we'll give you all a few minutes to get in and get set up. I'm Lauren Schreckengost, and on behalf of myself and Megan Evangelist, we would like to welcome you today to our webinar. We are going to be taking a look at 5 must-haves for your vacation rental accounting solution. So what we're going to take a look at today are items that your PMS or your software system need to have as far as making sure you have what you need to take care of the accounting side of your business. Now, for those of you all who are already VRM family members, much of what Megan's going to talk about today will be things that you guys are familiar with. If we do go over something that is new to you, please feel free to reach out with questions, and we'll be happy to help you see how you can utilize the software system that you already have in place to get your marketing where it needs to be. And for those of you guys who are not part of our VRM family, we would love to have you join us. And we hope that the information that we present today will help you as you may be looking around for a new software solution. So without much further ado, I'm going to turn things over to Megan. And Megan has been with VRM for 17 years. She is our client support specialist, so is a definitely wealth of knowledge when it comes to how VRM works and how our clients are utilizing the system. So we're really excited to see what you've got to present to us today, Megan, as far as the accounting part of VRM. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Lauren. So I'm going to turn off my video while I do the presentation, and we'll go ahead and get started. All right, so today I'm going to go through some must-haves, 5 must-haves for your vacation rental accounting solution and things to look for. The first thing that we recommend having is escrow trust accounting. And what that is a financial agreement whereby the money is held by a third party on behalf of 2 other parties. In this case would be the owner and guest that are in the process of completing a transaction. Escrow trust accounts are managed by an agent, and that's going to be the vacation rental company. And the main rule for escrow accounting is that you must not commingle your funds with your operating funds.
Hey, Megan, can I ask a question if you don't mind?
You can.
For those people who aren't familiar with escrow accounting, can you just give them an idea of what the difference is between the escrow account and the operating account as far as the funds used for operating?
Yeah, so the operating funds are going to be the funds that you use to run your business. So that's going to be your business as in the vacation rental company business, not your properties or money that belongs to the owners or any of that. It's just your operating funds that you pay your bills with. Whereas the escrow funds are going to be the funds that you're paying owners with, vendors with, and putting damage deposits and refunding those to the guests. That's the difference there on that.
That makes sense.
And VRM is a property-based escrow accounting software, and it was created in North Carolina using the North Carolina real estate rules, which is one of the strictest states.
Definitely, you got to watch out for the real estate commission. You don't want them to come visit unless they're going on vacation.
And going on to my next slide is why is the escrow trust accounting so important? The bottom line for that is that it protects the owners, it protects the guests, and it protects you, the rental company, in those making sure the money is not getting used incorrectly. Also, one of the big things that could happen in a situation where funds are commingled could be bankruptcy. If you got money going in one account, you could lose track of where things are belonging and where they're going. And of course, not all the states require escrow trust accounting, but most do recommend it. And of course, in North Carolina, it is a definite requirement.
That makes sense. And with VRM, Megan, am I correct in saying that with VRM, even if your state doesn't require the escrow trust accounting, when you're using our software, that's the way we're set up. So we don't have an option for not having the escrow accounting side of things to keep those commingling relationships from occurring. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, our VRM software is not going to allow the commingling of funds.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right, so our next thing that we recommend looking for when you're for your vacation software is procedures that help with month end. And in VRM, we have procedures for daily and weekly, which if you do those properly, it will make your month end close a lot easier and go smoother. Now, some of those procedures for daily things are checking out your reservations, checking reservations in, comparing your credit card batches that you receive from your gateway to your deposits in VRM, making sure they match. Also creating cash and check deposits each day at the end of each day, and also manually creating e-check deposits if that is something that you use. And then that moves into the weekly procedures. So each week we have reports that you can run. One of those reports will check for negative balances that are on any reservation. And of course, if you see those balances, you can go ahead and take care of them at that time rather than at the end of the month. Another report we have is to help look for any reservations that didn't distribute, that might need to have a second set of eyes to look to see what might have happened there. You can also, you want to review damage deposits that are getting refunded, making sure that those are the correct refunds and there wasn't something that needed to be handled, and processing vendor payments and work orders.
Excellent.
Now, if you do all of those things, then it'll make the month-end procedures that we have in place run a lot smoother. And those procedures that we have a review part that you would do. So you would review our general ledger report. And what you're doing is you're reviewing that report, comparing it to the guest per property report. You're checking to make sure that all of your reservations are on your general ledger, which means they're going to show on your owner's statement. Tax reports, you're wanting to make sure that those match your general ledger. Travel insurance report as well. You want to make sure what's there is what's supposed to be paid out. And then once you've done that whole review process, then the next step is to start expensing those out. And you'll expense out your owners, your taxes, your travel insurance, your management accounts. And as you can see from the screenshot here, we have the ability to expense that at one time under our accounting expense ledger balances. So if we choose to do the owner's account, it expenses all the owners, and we always recommend doing that on the last day of the month to make things run smooth. Now, expensing those items drops them to the check queue. At that point, you can cut a check, or you can create a notcha file to pay your owners or vendors by direct deposit.
Excellent. And with that, Megan, if we have people that aren't familiar or have possibly forgotten some of the review procedures that we recommend, is there a place we've got set up so that VRM users can find the review process?
We do. We have a help desk or a help article section that we have those procedures written out that we're happy to send to any clients who need those or would like to review them again.
Awesome. Thank you.
Right. So our third thing that we recommend looking for is owner statements. Obviously, it's important that the owners can see each month what they're being paid out for. In our owner statements in VRM, we have where it displays the rental income, the management commission that comes out of that. If there's any owner charges that the owner is responsible for on reservations, those also display. Work orders against their property will display as well, and then they'll get their disbursement on what they're getting paid for. And in VRM, in the system itself, we can pull those under accounting to be given to the owner. You can mail it out to them, or the owners have the option to print that or pull that up themselves under our owner extranet. And from there, they can view current statements, and they can even view statements that are in the past. So they do have that ability to pull those up and see for themselves. So some other reports that owners have access to, one is the guest per property report. They can pull this report and it gives them a breakdown of the guests that are staying in their property on the time frame that they have selected to pull that information for. It does give them the guest name, email address, and the stay dates of when they're coming. Another valuable report for the owners that you can pull in the system to give to them is a reservations per owner report. Our owners find this valuable in a situation that they are selling their property. It's a report that they like to have to give to the prospective buyer, where they can see kind of what their expected rental income might be for that property.
I really like that report, Megan. One of the reasons I like it is because it'll also show blackouts. So if an owner has reserved time in their property for maintenance, or if they don't rent for the entire part of the year, that reservations per owner report will show that. So that, as you mentioned, any prospective buyers can see, oh, the rental income may have been down, but it's because the property was blocked off for 6 months out of the year. So it will include those reservations as well as actual guest reservations.
That's right. All right. So another really good thing to look for is the ability to create a 1099. In VRM, we do have the ability to create the 1099s, and we also have it broken down where you can create the owners separately, since they have the 1099 miscellaneous. And then we have for the vendors where you can create their 1099 NEC forms. So when creating 1099s, in VRM, you populate the tax year, you review the entries and approve each one. And when you're ready, you then, from this screen that you see, you would be able to create the media file for them or print the owners or the vendors 1099s. Now we do have two separate options. You have your IRS pre-printed forms, which are the forms that you are required to send to the IRS. Those are the ones you buy the forms from your local office supply store, put them in your printer, and VRM will create the file that you'll use to print on those forms. The other option is the recipient full documents. Those come with it already on the page filled out, but those are not the IRS ones.
Well, that's really helpful. Is that something that VRM's added recently, Megan? The ability to print it on the form so that the owners have a copy of it without using purchasing the forms?
Well, you still have to purchase the forms because the IRS are required. So you still have to purchase those to be sent to the IRS. However, if an owner comes back later and they lost theirs or whatever, you can print them one without requiring the pre-printed form. You can print them one that they can still see all the information in the boxes.
Oh, that's nice. So at least they don't have to go out and buy new forms if it's later in the year. Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So here, this is that form, the pre-printed one, or not the pre-printed, I'm sorry, the recipient full document one. This is how it does print in VRM. Here in the corner, it will print like that. So that's the one if they need to reprint one, and not the ones for the IRS.
I like that. So all the fields are there so they can tell exactly what the numbers correspond with instead of just having the information on a blank piece of paper. That's awesome.
Yeah. So the other screens here, the one over to the left, this is the media file. That's That's the one when you create the media file, it'll populate like this, which is a text file. And that's the file that you would save and then, upload to the IRS site. The screen in the middle is the screen after you select print, whether you're printing the recipient or the IRS, this is the screen that populates where it allows you to view your list of owners. And then if there's one that you really don't want to print at the time, you can uncheck the boxes. In a case such as this, where you're reprinting one, you don't want to reprint every page, maybe just one owner at a time.
That's great. What if there's a property, Megan, that has two owners? So let's say you and I bought a lottery ticket. We won the lottery. We purchased the multi-million-dollar beachfront property, and so we each are 50% owner. Does VRM do statements like that so that both of us can see what we're making and get the 1099?
It does, yeah. So in VRM, in those situations, you have the ability to add an owner at 50% each. And so at the end of the year, what will happen is each owner will receive a 1099 for their rental income. So each owner will still get a 1099 and they would still get individual owner statements throughout the year.
Very nice. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Right. And our last thing that we recommend is really important to us is reporting. We have lots of reports in VRM, mostly to help you see your information, be able to quickly review things and look at things. So we have lots of reports. This first report is the cash receipts report. And in VRM, you have the ability to pay cash, check, credit cards, e-check. And so this report is great because whatever day you choose to see, if you pull that, you'll see all of the payments that were taken that day, and it will total them at the bottom for each type of payment that was taken, and you'll get those totals. This will help with creating your deposits at the end of the day for your cash and check, and also for your e-checks.
Very nice.
The next report's the general ledger. So this report is really important because this report tells you everything that's happened in an account throughout the time frame selected. It tells all money coming in, all money going out. And this is the report that we use in VRM when we are reviewing the month end. We use this to compare against the owner's statements. We use this report to compare against the tax reports, the travel insurance reports. Every account in VRM has a general ledger report, and it shows everything that's happened.
Cool. You mentioned that VRM was a property-based accounting system. Is there a report then for each account for each property in the VRM system?
Yes. So every account will have, so you can pull a general ledger for one property and one account, or multiple properties and the one account. It's just, so it's definitely a really easy way to pull that and be able to see one individual, or if you're looking for a broader scale of everything that for all properties, owners accounts, you can pull the general ledger for that as well.
Very cool. So that definitely helps keep the money broken down so that you know exactly how each individual property is doing, where the income's coming from, and you're making sure that each owner is getting paid out what their property has generated. That's
Correct.
Great. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it makes it easier.
It does.
Right. So the last report I want to look at is the tax report. So in VRM, we have this tax report here that breaks down each individual type of tax. So for example, Airbnbs, they're portals, and sometimes they're not taxable. The rent isn't because they pay it themselves. So in our tax report, you can see that rent exempt and rent portals, that is listed, so it won't count towards the tax total at the bottom of the list. And again, we have our general ledger here to compare making sure that what we see on our tax report that's due is what was in the account due as well.
That's cool. So with that, then it means the property owners don't have to go back and figure out what taxes the portals collected on their behalf, right? It's just automatically
Correct.
part of the report. Oh, that's
Correct.
wonderful.
Yeah. Okay.
That
Right.
looks great.
So that brings us to the end of the 5 things that we recommend when looking for a vacation rental software. Just some important things to us that make things a little bit easier for our clients at VRM. So I thank everyone for joining us today. And if anyone has any questions, you can email us at the email addresses on the screen.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Megan, for walking us through that and for pointing out some of the highlights of the marketing or the accounting part of the VRM software system. I found this very interesting, and I hope, again, those of you all who are using VRM are familiar with the things that Megan's pointed out today. But if it is something that's new to you, please don't hesitate to reach out. We realize that as we do update parts of the VRM system, sometimes updates don't get shared around as far as new buttons or new features we have. So please let us know if we can help you utilize anything you already have at your fingertips. And for any of you guys who may not be, again, part of our VRM family and you're interested in getting more information, please don't hesitate to contact us. We would love to answer questions that you've got and connect you with our sales team. So again, on behalf of myself and Megan, thank you so much for joining us. And we hope you guys have a wonderful afternoon and a very happy holiday weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.